And thank you for having me on this podcast, Abby. I guess for those who don't know who I am, my name is Maya Guadalupe and Mohammed. Recently got married, so a little name change. And I am a comedian, in hibernation, and a part-time student studying urban agroecology. And I love Abby, so I'm just happy to be a part of any of your endeavors. So happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you, Maya. Congratulations on getting married. That's so exciting. Congratulations. I was there. Oh, that's good. I was a little late.
You were like the last person to arrive. We were like, we're waiting for one more person. It was great. It was like so special.
You're on time. I was like rushing hell hard, and I was like, I did my best. I really did. But anyways, so
this AirPod
was a great wedding.
I want to stay in my ear. It's being I like AirPods don't work for me.
AirPods are so annoying. I also I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not a huge fan of Bluetooth, to be honest. Me
either.
I think it's fine, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to use it. You know what I mean? I'm not spreading conspiracy theories about Bluetooth, but I'm also not I do have a flyer on my headphones. You know what I mean?
When you spread conspiracy theories, so I'm more. It's it's rooted in facts.
I'm pretty diligent about my conspiracy theories. I feel like I'm pretty careful about what to spread or not spread. My favorite conspiracy theories are ones that are not based on any weird theories, where it's just kind of is true, stuff like how the algorithm isn't healthy, stuff like that, where it's pretty neutral because it is true,
I was watching a YouTube video yesterday about monkey brain and dopamine detoxing. And the YouTuber did it so beautifully. I forgot the channel's name, but it was just literally a monkey, a poorly animated monkey. Oh my God, monkey's not used to scrolling for hours. And my brain was able to intake it so well. And I was I am a toddler. Essentially, I need this information, easy to understand, but it's just it's very difficult. I think we're not meant to have these short form entertainment, you know what I mean? Constantly. My brain starts to hurt if my husband watches YouTube shorts for too long. If it's just, I'm okay, 50, it's always changing every 15 seconds. I can't hang. I'm baby, please change it. Put on a long YouTube video.
Put on a film, babe.
I know.
Cinema? What are we doing?
I'm even happy for a YouTube video that's 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm I can pay attention.
Standards have changed. I think that's cool and interesting, and that makes sense to me. I think honestly, there's so funny because when I scroll for too long, there's an actual part of my skull where I feel it. There's a literal area where I'm oh, that's probably the memory center. Literally right back here, and I start to feel discomfort, and I'm yeah, it's probably the glutamate buildup. When you because when you have to make too many decisions, basically it overloads the system, the neurobiology, the neurochemistry with glutamate, which is fine. It's just an amino acid. But when there's a buildup and your brain, your lymphatic system is how your body clears waste. Waste as in chemical byproducts of cellular processes. But when your brain clears waste, it's the lymphatic system. And it overnight does a lot of work and all this stuff. But are you wearing your farm hat? This is awesome. It's good stuff. Farm hat. You're listen, we need to be gardening. Fuck videos.
I know, right? We need to be gardening. All of us
join gardening.
But no, what you're saying is hella interesting, and I don't have your educational background to fully understand what you're saying. But
I don't know why I know it. I don't even know if it's from education. Like I actually don't know if it's related. I don't I know it's true. I do, to be fair, it is true what I'm saying, but it is like niche knowledge that I not figured out, but like that I started learning about when I was starting to be like, my memory is getting worse when I'm on my phone for too long. Like I do have a degree in biology and interdisciplinary biology undergrad degree, but like a lot of the neurobiology and like neurochemistry that I started like paying attention to once I was starting to feel like my brain was shutting down from phone overuse is like just stuff I like have been researching, and I know how to understand it because like I know how to like read PubMed articles and stuff from my degree, but like, you know, it's a new set of information we all need to cultivate around like brain health at this point.
Agree, because taking classes, like I'm like part-time this semester. I'm only taking one class, and I find myself like in these lectures, and like it's not that like, you know, the content is especially hard, you know, it's like very interesting to me, and it's like, you know, related to like my passion. So I'm excited to be there. But I do feel like phone overuse, like you're saying, it has an effect on our memory center and the ability to retain information. So I struggle to stop procrastinating, whether it's like any form of entertainment, whether it be on my phone or whether it be like on the television, streaming, whatever, YouTube, HBO, stuff like that. Or it could be distractions where you're, you know, like, you know, even just talking to somebody, you know, just like avoiding the work that I want to do. And I think I'm so used to constant entertainment and like instant gratification through the phone that it's like I have to like constantly, like it's almost like I'm at war with myself and my brain and my phone all at the same time.
Said. Unfortunately, very well said. I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
So I love what I'm learning, but like I'm like coming against these walls, and I'm like, okay, for sure it's because I'm addicted to my phone, and in some ways it's definitely affecting like my ability to retain information and like my attention span for that matter. So I think it's super important. And, you know, as somebody who's like had depressive episodes, my phone, like during like isolated periods of my life, like recently, not speaking of childhood, I didn't have like an iPhone then. It was like my coping mechanism. You know, when you have no friends, you can go on YouTube and like watch comedy shorts or whatever, like for hours, dude. And it's like you're like, oh, like your feeling of connection, even though you're like megally like disconnected. Like
and they're profiting off it. It's like the way, anyway.
No, but yeah, so like, you know, tangent, you know, over, but yeah, like I think
it's not tangential. It's super precise to what we're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it's super important for people to think about, and to also think about like, I just imagine like, you know, my mom in the 80s, like she didn't have the devices we have today. And, you know, I'm not saying that life was easier or better, you know, I wasn't there, but I think humans have existed for so long on this earth without these technologies, and these technologies are coming at us so fast and so furious that like we're not able to catch up, and we're not like having all these studies, you know, in the time that we need them. Maybe like 10 years from now we'll have a study like, oh my god, the scrolling was bad, why did we let children do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like, if we survive for so long without it, like we don't need it. But there's also something to be said about like, you know, using tools like and not letting the tools use us or like, you know, damage us. So like,
yeah,
it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like throw my phone out the window and like live off the grid. Like that's not what I'm advocating for. But we do have to like moderate in whatever way works with like our individual lives, like moderate our usage of like, whether it's your iPad, whether it's your cell phone or your TV, anything that's like literally putting something in front of your space and like you're not doing any activity. You know what I mean? There's no movement. You're just like
your life. When you're doing that, you're missing hours of your own life. every hour, every minute on your phone is a minute that you're missing your own reality. You're missing out on your own reality.
You're subscribing, you're paying into other people's realities. You know what I mean? Like, you're watching someone else's story, whether it's real or fictional, rather than like, you know, figuring out your story and where you want to go.
Exactly.
And like envisioning where you want to go. Because like, yeah, I could watch a TV show and like someone lives like a perfect life and like, oh, that's really cool and like entertaining. But like, what am I doing for myself? So I think anchors are important, like anchors to our reality. And like the people in my life are my anchors. Like, so you, my husband, my mom, and then also the program I'm in, like going to school, that's a huge anchor for me. Cause it's like, oh shit, my life's exciting. Like, I don't want to watch a TV show.
What are the actual places you go? What are the structures you're a part of? What are the programs, the people, the communities, the learning, that where are you either receiving in real life or giving in real life, or both? That's what, like so well said, those anchor points, those roots into your reality, like really rooting into your reality, into each of our realities. And so thank you for saying what you're saying, Maya. I think it's so important to talk about, because, you know, the other thing is like, this is not, it's not just content or losing lifespan or degrading our neurology, degrading our memory and our abilities. Like it is doing all those things, but also remembering this is a for-profit mechanism. There is nothing about scrolling technologies. I always emphasize scrolling technology because for me, it's not just, I mean, screen time's not great, but really scrolling is the worst, because it's like you're having an algorithm decide what you see next, which is really the first step in true indoctrination. And again, it's not neutral. It's for profit. They're earning, these are companies that this is how they make billions of dollars, is our attention, our lifespan, our time. The other thing that I come back to in this type of a conversation is I always, and you also so beautifully did this at the end of what you're saying, I always come back to optimism. I always come back to, where do we go though? What do we do?
Yeah.
Anchor points, rooting into our lives. Who's, you know, that ultimately to me, because, and this is something I've talked to you about probably so many times, many times, is like the way that people survived in this country was optimism, was resilience, was simply not giving up. And so even in the face of feeling like, oh my God, you know, I've had moments, I know people who have it even worse than me, of like, I'm losing my memory from this phone thing, or I'm losing my communities from this phone thing. I'm thankful that that's not happening to me right now. But when that's happening, and when we feel false connection through the phone instead, number one, remembering it's for profit, but second of all, remembering that optimism is the antidote. We have to find ways to step forward and continue forward as human beings, as individuals, and in a collective. I'm wearing religious earrings today, by the way, and this has your middle name, I believe, involved, because this is
Guadalupe. It's my first name, but yes. Because it's Maya Guadalupe. It's like one first name.
Oh, wow. That's so cool, Maya. I didn't even know that. I assumed it was your middle name, but that's amazing. I didn't know. Anyway, I felt a little weird wearing these today, but I've been wearing them all the time anyway. So I was like, I guess I was going to wear them anyway today. But
I think you should never feel weird about wearing them. It's beautiful.
I'm obsessed. Because I've been going to church lately. So, which we don't have to talk about that. That's a whole.
You know what? Put a pin in that one, because we'll.
I will say though, part of what is bringing me to specifically Catholic church, because my great grandmother was Catholic, and I was raised atheist, so all my trauma is from atheists. So I'm like, whatever. To be fair, but I will say,
sorry, go ahead.
I will say my screen time is lowest on Sundays. I will say part of my motivation, at first I wanted a boyfriend or a girlfriend or somebody so that I could be on my phone less. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I realized like part of why I'm going to church is just like to be on my phone less. Is that
because like you're practicing like being in the moment and mindfulness in those settings, and it feels good, it feels right. Like when I'm like at the garden, you know what I mean, on campus.
Church.
And I'm just like,
different form of worship. Yeah. So
it's another form of worship. You're so right. Like I'm so in the moment. I have zero thoughts. Like it's just like crickets in my brain. Like there's nothing going on. I'm just like, I'm like a little animal picking these tomatoes, you know? And it's like when I'm the most happy is when my brain shuts off. So it's kind of like telling, like in those, like, it's like follow those like little like Easter eggs. It's like, oh, like I want, like, how do I get more of that? Whether, but it doesn't have to just be like on the farm. It has to be when I'm home or when I'm in the car. I think it, like, for me, what helps is not having like distracting apps on my phone, ones that are triggers for me to waste time, whether it be Reddit or, you know, Instagram or whatever. And like all these new like social media apps that are coming out, the way I see it, we don't need more, we need less. And we need one and we also need one like that isn't owned by these like tech oligarchs, and like it's all about just profit and ads, and like it's not really like you're not really like connecting with the people that you see.
Yes.
So I'm all for resource sharing, community building online. I just like, why are we settling? Like, why are we settling for Zuckerberg? You know what I mean? For Elon. And like, I get the argument like that a lot of creators are tied to these platforms, like their money-making ability, their networking abilities, you know, they're tied to these platforms. But I feel like it's 2025, y'all. Like, why haven't we developed something that's like as popular as these, you know, big tech company apps that we can utilize? And, you know, maybe somebody will comment, you know, from this video and be like, oh, hey, Maya and Abby, there's actually this one over here that you missed. And
let us know.
Let us know, please.
Put it in the comments. You know, an independently owned indie alternative social media network for
subscribe.
Yeah, comment, like, share, and subscribe. And if you know of an indie social media where you can, mind you, mutual aid, where you can support one another, resource sharing, all this good stuff. I know someone who their full-time job is social media. That person, I won't say who it is. You know who it is, Maya.
I love that I know them, but don't say the name.
I think you know who it is. Well, I don't know. There's actually a couple people we could be thinking of, actually. But the one I'm thinking of works 14-hour days. When they were, I'm going to use they because I don't want to give away too much information. When they were really in it and their primary income was social media for a few years, fully isolated, filming content, 14-hour day. It's not that different for the content creators. It's not like the content creators are in these thriving communities. No, they're focused on making shit for the machine, dude. It's the same. It's a machine. It is an advertising machine. It is a profit-driven mechanism. So I also want to give that reminder of like the creators that are earning, mind you, a lot of money from brand deals. The person I knew made a lot of money from this, the person I know. And, you know, great. But guess what? Again, 14-hour days making content for the same machine. It's not that different. Like, yes, the finances are different, but they're actually spending more time with these platforms than we are.
And I can only imagine like the burnout from that. And like, you know, I think of people who kind of like, you know, advocate that, oh, like be your own boss, be a content creator. It'll be so easy. You know, you'll make your own money. You'll travel the world. You'll be a digital nomad or whatever. And I'm like, ooh, 14-hour days and like the stress of like every moment of my life is for content.
Yep.
Every moment of my life is for content. I'm always thinking about content. And like when I was heavy and I was doing comedy full time, that was like my mode of thinking. I was always thinking about engagement. I was always thinking about people looking at my page or like, you know, engaging with like the reels that I was making or the Facebook posts that I was writing or whatever. But it was literally, I could not shut it off. I could not shut it. There was no moment where I wasn't like, ooh, that's cute. Let me put that in a story, or that's funny. Like my followers, you know, fellow comedians will like this, or I think it's funny. And almost was like I was like losing my freedom, like losing like my like the spirit of like my day to day, like the sacredness of that. And it was like I was cheapening it and kind of like giving it like all that data to the Zucks. You know what I mean? Like he sucks. And I don't want him knowing I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich and like feeding it into his AI. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah, totally.
And like, you know, so I really appreciate this conversation because it's a lot of what I've been thinking about, because like I miss some of my friends on social media because I'm not really actively on it right now. And like I think about the content or like the you know, the photos, the images, the stories that I might be missing from my family. So I think it's like we have to imagine something else. And I do think that we're so used to this. We're so used to this environment, and like I think we don't believe that it's possible potentially to like, you know, divest. Just divest. Like hit them where it hurts. Like, you know what I mean? Like if we just like all were like one day, fuck Meta, fuck Instagram, fuck Facebook, whatever, Threads. If their platforms were empty, they would go broke. Like we're the reason they make money. And of course they've got like their other investments and shit and whatever, like who knows. But I do believe like we do need to stay connected, but like we have to like show that like we don't want to participate in this anymore.
Yeah. And you know what? Get people's phone numbers. You can fucking text people. Like if you really want to stay connected, email. Because it's so like this idea of like digging for tomatoes and feeling like a small critter. Like I love that so much, Maya, when you were talking earlier about rooting and finding where you feel good. Oh God, like when I'm not online, my life is so much better. It's just better. And I don't even have that good of a life. Like I do, but I don't, you know?
I feel you.
You know what I mean? Like I'm very broke. I have multiple disabilities. Like there's things that are just intrinsically challenging about my day-to-day existence. But genuinely
is a gem, by the way. And like who you are is a gem, by the way. So no matter like your adversity and your difficulties, you are like that sacred light, that like that magnifying force. So
I appreciate that.
There's adversity.
You know what? I actually had a topic I wanted to talk about today.
Are we segueing?
I think we might be.
Okay.
I want to wrap up the last topic on optimism. Find where you can root into your real life and don't lose time to the apps. And also this like radical call of action of like they would go broke if no one was on there that you mentioned, Maya. And also what you mentioned of where's the independently funded app that we make for ourselves. So those 5 points are like my little summary. And I want to add, or I want to segue into this idea that I've been thinking a lot about, that I have actually posted videos about on my YouTube, just me alone, of it seems like it seems to me as if the most amazing, compassionate, kind people are not doing well. Like to me right now, when I hear about another person passing away, which has happened all the people that have passed away in the past year have been some of the most intelligent, creative, empathetic fucking people. Like it's a mild conspiracy theory that number one, these algorithms are really harming us. Okay. Second of all, sensitive people are important to the mental ecology of any group, right? We cannot have I think when we talk about neurological diversity, we're missing the whole point, because it's like, we think it's like, oh, people can be different. No, neurodiversity is like ecological diversity. We need different brain types or the entire thing will crumble. And the most sensitive brain types, my big thing is like people with bipolar are misunderstood. They are made to be scapegoats. They are demeaned and marginalized. And I think they're some of the best fucking people. I think they're some of the most creative, intelligent, powerful, wonderful people. And I often feel in my heart of hearts that there are other issues from other people that could put on to bipolars that aren't our issues. So I think a lot about, like, again, people like Mark Zuckerberg, Trump, Elon Musk, people who are really cruel, like whether it's low empathy, whether it's actual personality disorders like malignant narcissism or sociopathy, whatever, like who knows, but whatever's going on with them gets hoisted, like put onto quote unquote crazy people. And then people who are actually really intelligent, empathetic, and creative get blamed because we're, as bipolars, not as good at articulating. Like, this is my whole thing of like neurological diversity is as important as ecological diversity, is as important as demographic diversity, as gender diversity. We can't, the way we think of it is like this cutesy thing. It's not cutesy. We need everybody's brain type. And now a lot of the most sensitive people seem to be not making it or not knowing how important they are. That's this big topic that's on my heart, on my mind and heart. Yeah.
I can see that. I think, a lot of, maybe from my perspective and like understanding what you just said, it's that there's a lot of pain and suffering and like, horrifying atrocities all over the world, and like super sensitive people who have managed in this like violent fascist place to like retain their heart are suffering because like their heart is hurting. I can speak a little bit about like my experience is like this heaviness that doesn't go away, and I see like, people can make fun of me or anybody sensitive for like crying all the time, or like, expressing in that way where it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. But I'm just so glad that my heart can still feel, you know what I mean? And that I'm not in the face of poverty, of war, of genocide, of displacement. I'm not cold or stone-faced and like, oh, this doesn't affect me. This has nothing to do with my life. And I think that is a superpower. And I do believe maybe like a hidden agenda, and this could be a conspiracy theory. Hidden agenda is that like someone, who knows, whatever, doesn't want humans to be connected to their hearts, doesn't want humans to feel, you know what I mean? And like and it's like kind of advocating for selfishness, for individualism, and it's not surprising because America is founded on rugged individualism and manifest destiny and all the other things I mentioned, like genocide and stuff, slavery. So this place is really violent from the beginning, and we are like the generations, you know what I mean? Like we're the survivors, like you were saying, like the importance of optimism, the importance of like, remaining kind and like joyful and also hopeful for our future. We're the survivors of those people, the people who fought, the people who like, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't be here without those people who hoped and dreamed and like wanted a better future for all of us. So I think it's the most radical thing you could do is protect your heart. Like protect your heart like it's the most sacred thing you have in your arsenal, the most valuable thing you have. And don't let anything, anybody, any system take it away from you. Because once it's gone, it's very hard to get back. But I can say that it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Wait, how can you say that?
I can say that. And I won't trauma dump, and I'm not going to share too much about it. But I went through a pretty horrifying experience as a kid where I feel like I lost connection to my heart. And all throughout, like, and it like began when I was like 12, like 11, 12, 13, 14. And then when I felt the absence of it, I didn't want to be on this earth. So like I had to kind of fight to like get my heart back. And so I know that like trauma and like violence and like childhood or like just any part of the human experience can harm us, can really harm us and like set us on the wrong path. But let me just say, like, even if I was on a wrong path when I was a kid and I like managed to like divert that path and like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like in this like, kind of corny way of putting it, like I went like from the dark side to the light. Yeah. So in that sense,
the scalding bright white light into the soothing darkness of the cosmos, whichever direction, because it is.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Oh,
so I have a lot of empathy for people, and I feel like I'm getting so hot. Sorry if I'm like so red, like a tomato that I'm harvesting. But I have a lot of empathy for people because, like, you know, I don't believe that like you can just look at one person and be like, that's a villain. That's a villain, and they're going to be a villain forever. It's like, how dare you say that? I think all humans are capable of both. You know what I mean? We're capable of being villains and heroes all at once.
That's deep. I've
had my villainous moments for sure, but
everyone has. Yeah, I mean, that's so interesting. I think maybe I'm less advanced than you in that way because I feel I'm someone who does actually feel like some people are villains and some people aren't. And I think that's a really like, it's not a very evolved perspective for me to hold, you know, like it's a pretty, it's somewhat immature to think like I'm good, some people are bad, you know, whatever. I think the style of trauma I experienced as a kid, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I'm so impressed by your trajectory and the way that you rebuilt yourself after that. And again, this idea of setting yourself on a better course, like I really like that idea or feeling of it, of like finding your track. And I remember, you know, back in the day, that was something they did in schools was, oh, you're on this track, you're on that track, like at least in California public schools, you know, you're on the whatever track, the academic, this, whatever. And it was so interesting because the school basically would choose for the kids, like, you're on the AP track, you know, you're going to be good at school, you're going to be bad at school, you know, whatever. And really reclaiming our ability to choose our own path, I think is so important. Like, no, I know who I am. I want to do well in school. Or, no, I know who I am. I want to be a good person. I want to give myself the opportunity to be a good person. Now, I have, as I was starting to mention, the opposite experience where it's like I felt my entire life like, I know I'm a good person. This person really screwed me over. I know they're a bad person. I've seen it. Like, I'm thinking of one person in particular who made my life really difficult growing up, family, and being like, I know this person is not good. Like, I've seen evidence. I like that overly logical, almost childish way of seeing it. And I think, like, yes, I definitely have caused people harm in my life. And from my limited, maybe egotistical perspective, it's always been accidental. Like, I can't think of times where I ever intentionally caused harm because I don't want anyone to suffer. At least not consciously. Like, maybe there have been unconscious moments of that. It's hard to even think of that because I just can't, it's not my like mental framework, and I haven't seen myself do that, but I'm sure maybe I didn't notice, or you know, other people would say that I had a negative impact, but I think I've been so attached to just such a victim mentality for so much of my life that it's pretty hard to like leave space for the idea of like, especially because I also feel like I've been so misjudged so much of my life and misunderstood, and people project onto me like all the fucking time and also inaccurately. And so I think that also is part of it, where it's like the good and bad thing. It's like, well, like, I know some people see me wrongly, but like, I do feel pretty strong in my morality, especially based on certain experiences I had when I was young, of seeing the opposite of that. Yeah.
A lot of these, thank you for sharing that. And I think your wisdom comes from your experiences, and my wisdom comes from mine. You know what I mean? And like, we share our wisdom, and then there's new wisdom. Hooray!
Collaborative wisdom. Oh my God.
I love it.
Something you can't have when you're just scrolling. Unless you're scrolling this video, and then I guess you did get it.
I know. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum. But yeah, it's so important. And I'm curious to see what other people think about it, because I like to think that we all hold like a piece of the answer inside of ourselves, and like it just takes like, here's my piece of the answer, here's your piece of the answer, but it's just a piece, and it doesn't create the whole puzzle. Like we have to all do it together, like boop, 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 boop. So I think this is it. We're like bringing the pieces together, co-creating a little bit right now, and like what's next?
I also want to say, if we all, first of all, I love this idea. I agree with this idea. If we all have a piece of the puzzle, you gotta get out into the world to share it. You cannot just stay in your room on your phone. And I don't think enough young people know that. I don't even think enough seniors know that. Enough elders know that. There are elders who are on their phone all the time.
For sure. My mom. I love her. Okay. She's a Gen Xer, like late Gen Xer, like almost boomer. And she's always on her phone. And I'm like, Mama, like you're one of the ones that got caught. Like you knew what it was like before all of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all ages. It's not just, Gen Z, millennials, Xers. It's all of us.
It's all of us. And I think the only difference with young people is like they haven't had the chance to put themselves in the world and really know who they are yet. So that is one difference of like, you guys, you got to at least be present. Because again, if you have this, if each of us has this specific little piece of the puzzle, we're not going out and meeting people and talking to people and offering what we have, that's a big loss.
And there's so many points of connection. Like an idea just like, or like a thought came to me, how like, it's not even just being alone, like on your phone in your room. It's being alone on your phone on BART. You know what I mean? It's being alone on your phone. Walking down the street. And I just thought of a world, of course, this is idealistic, where BART had like board games, or BART had like trivia, or BART had like.
You should like write a letter to BART.
BART, please. I know they did this Valentine's Day like speed dating thing this year.
I'm doing it. That's where I'm going to meet my partner. Is it BART?
And if you meet them on BART, your fucking wedding better be on BART. Okay.
No, it's okay. We'll have a regular wedding. That's okay.
I just said that because somebody got married on BART. So I just thought that.
I follow BART. I follow BART on Instagram. I follow
you do.
I will say that's one pretty good way to get off the internet is start following local accounts. Like if you follow like the store near you, it's way harder to stay online because you're like, I could just walk over there. Like it's pretty funny. My TikTok started showing me, I wasn't on there for like years, but I'm back on it, of course. Started showing me like local businesses, and I was like, oh no, I have to go outside.
Right? I have to go experience the real world.
It's so funny. I'll also add being on Muni the other day. I take Muni like all the time. I'm so broke. I need to get anyway, whatever. I have to refresh my Clipper because I keep not paying for Muni.
I never pay for Muni. Okay. Allegedly.
I look, also by the way, there's programs that they can give you free and reduced fare. I just don't know how to do it because I have bipolar. So I'm literally busy being complicated. Like
when am I gonna have the time for that?
It's like literally part of my issues that I can't figure out. Anyway, how to do that. So, but I was on Muni and there was like this lovely group of like all ages, all these different kinds of people, blah, 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 looking cool, dressed cool, whatever. Every single person, everybody was on their phone and everybody was clicking away, engaged, doing all this business, all this stuff. Who are you talking to? Like, and the thing is, yeah, sometimes I'm on my phone on transit, but usually I'm not. And like, maybe they're usually not too. And it just happened to be the day that they were. Like, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but like, we're so hooked, man. Like we're so, yeah.
It's actually a safety concern. And I think about, I don't remember her name. I know her first name was Irina, the Ukrainian woman who was killed on public transit, I think in Charlotte.
What?
And yeah, this man stabbed her in the neck, and she didn't quite like, and then he exited whatever, the train car or something, trolley, and she didn't realize what had happened, and she was looking around, and you could see like the video, and I didn't see like the graphic part of it, but just the after part, where she's looking to the woman who's sitting across the seat from her, and this woman is on her phone.
Yeah,
this woman's not.
wow.
This woman didn't potentially see.
Oh, geez.
Didn't see this man violently stab her. So it's also like a safety thing where it's like we have to be more observant of our surroundings in these spaces. Like we're very like coddled in the sense of like perceived safety, and that nothing will happen to me. But we have to be observers, like conscientious, or I don't know if that's what.
The power grids might go out. I mean, after that, we had an earthquake in the Bay Area recently, which I loved. I didn't love it. Listen,
I was like a mile away from it. It was like, oh my god,
it was pretty intense in San Francisco. I gotta say, it was probably the biggest earthquake I've ever felt in my life. It was like, to me, obviously, I don't like earthquakes because I know they're a real safety risk. And I know that if it's larger, like if that was the first wave and then there's going to be another earthquake, it's a serious thing. I'm somewhat emergency prepared, not fully, but not totally not, you know? And like specifically for something like an earthquake. And like, but it was such a fucking reminder of like, I woke up before too. I was one of the people who woke up before it happened, which is really spooky. Like like seconds before. As far as I could tell, I woke up and then it started. But anyways, spooky. Okay. So, but it was such a reminder of like, oh yeah, physical reality. Oh yeah, emergency preparedness. Like, what are we fucking doing on our phone? Like, what are we doing? And they have a great point. Yeah,
the emergency preparedness. Like after that earthquake, I literally was like, I don't think we're prepared for another earthquake. Like if water were to be cut off, if like services were to be stalled.
You need to have water, bottled water. I would just say big jugs of it. You can even fill your own. It can be tap water from before the quake. Because, have meds. If you're on psych meds, I make sure I have enough lithium at all times, just in case. I know my life would be very bad if I didn't have lithium. Basic stuff.
How would you get like with your like in contact with your family members? Like think about like if there was to be like a huge earthquake event and like cell phones weren't working, how would you find your people? So it's kind of like it's like that preparedness. So it's like, oh, like we have a meeting point, or like you come here, I go there, but like, or if that's not, or if like your place isn't like sustainable, my place isn't sustainable, there's this third location we can go to, like just in case. It's really, we just have to be more. I just feel that we don't quite realize how temporary we are and how fragile we are. As mighty as us humans are, as creative, as expansive, as like amazing, and like innovative creatures we are, thinking, feeling. I don't know if this is, specific to America or like, like our settler colonial state, but we seem to think that we have all the time in the world, and that, and if you have that feeling, then of course you're going to waste it. Of course you're going to waste it, whether it's, whatever you're doing, and not truly focusing on the things that matter for you. And,
for you personally.
Let alone for the greater good.
Because, also, we don't know how much time we have. That could mean you could still live till you're really old. You could still live a happy, healthy life, but we don't know how much time we have in each segment of this shit. So like really understanding, like this is one of the greatest pieces of awareness I learned through the internet, but through a native person that was posting that was saying, if you're talking about Israel occupying Palestine and the Palestinian genocide, that's the US for native people. The US is an occupation. This is so literal. And so when we think about like time passing or like getting centered or like finding our community or any of these actions that we have to take, that not have to, but that we ought to encourage ourselves to take, we also have to think about this framework of like, like my whole thing, I always come back to like, we're all gonna have a community garden. There's gonna be a community garden every 8 blocks. There's gonna be a phone, yeah. Like, you know, the phone, remember the phone booths? A phone booth every 4 blocks. And there's going to be a community library that has a computer where you can look through the internet archives every 10 blocks in big cities. And nobody needs a fucking phone because cities are going to be walkable by then. And the thing I always come back to when I think about envisioning a healthier future, which to me is an act of radical optimism, is I always come back to literally less people will die. More people will live longer and healthier lives in the better land, back to indigenous stewardship, community gardens. We don't need tech frameworks. Those frameworks are more life affirming, more human being focused, and interactive with the land and creatures of the land focus, like life focused, essentially life affirming, than any of our current structures. And so it's so funny when we think about, oh no, what's going to happen? It's like, we'll be better off. Like, let's not get so caught up in like, yes, first of all, there's going to be an interim that's going to be maybe scary, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe there'll be enough solar panels up when the power grids go out and enough farms operating, run by people locally, that maybe it won't be so fucking terrible.
I feel that. I like to like put my coins in that future, and that, you know, we don't have the answers and we're not going to know how it's going to unfold until it's like unfolding. But I love what you're envisioning. You know, everything that I'm learning about in my program is like kind of what you're saying, like community gardens everywhere. And like, I think of it as also that, and like, there's seed libraries everywhere, and like knowledge is shared freely and like, you know, in a mutual aid way. And every, you know, yard has like raised beds or boxes to grow, and like, and we teach each other. And like those who don't know how to grow their own food, we teach them. And like, there's no paywall. There's no like, I've got the knowledge.
No paywall.
No paywall.
Also, pollinator wildflower plants for little corridors for pollinator migration. And pollinators are not just fucking honeybees. Do you know how many different kinds of species of bugs and critters and flies and this? There's so many kinds of pollinators.
We could be pollinators.
Yeah.
We could.
There's a lot of beings in the ecology
and pollinate
land that are pollinators. So wow, thank you. I am so happy for this program you're in. I'm so happy you're doing this learning, this knowledge. It makes me feel actually more encouraged and almost safer to know that there's a wise, lovely human that is yourself learning about these topics. You know, what?
Oh, I said that's very sweet. Thank you.
And I'm doing my own things and learning in my own way and stuff. I'm trying to, and we're all kind of piecing together what this future could look like. And I love that idea. I'll put my coins in that future, and I'll put my, you know, my seashells and my heart beats and my, you know, my happiness towards that. Yeah.
I love that, Abby. And like this conversation feels really nourishing, and I hope anybody who comes across this video, you know, any of your loved ones, your friends, or just the random folks on the internet, you know, there's something nourishing about this for them. And if there's questions or discussion or debate or like criticisms, like that's the whole point of this, is that, like we said, we like don't have all the answers, and we're hoping to envision all of it and a new way forward together. And yeah, I look forward to like many more conversations with you, Abby. I feel like there's so much going on. I mean, I don't want to talk about it like now in this particular pod, but like I want to talk about the ice raids. I want to talk about migrant farm workers. I want to talk about how people are showing up, because we're dealing with basically Nazis.
Yeah.
Mass Nazis going into neighborhoods. And it doesn't matter if you look fucking brown, like, you know what I'm saying? If you look non-white, you could be taken in by ICE. They could fucking rip up any identification, be like, oh, they didn't have identification.
They've been doing that, and including Native people too.
Exactly. So to me, there needs to be a wider conversation on how we take care of us, how we stop the Nazis, because I don't have much faith in government, you know, and like, I mean, I'm a dime a dozen. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's like not feeling like these people are going to protect us. And I think about it, like I am of Mexican heritage, you know, so I can't necessarily be the woman on the front lines in, you know, interrogating ICE. They're gonna be like, choose one of them, lock her up.
You actually would be at real risk, Maya. That's
real
true.
risk.
Yeah.
And but my heart wants to be there. Like my heart wants to be there, like stopping my community members from being ripped away from their families. You know, put in these like detention centers that are violating their human rights. So like there's so much frustration for me in knowing that like I could just be putting myself in harm's way by going to protests to like at ICE detention centers, you know, where ICE agents are.
It's so scary. I went one time for like 4 or 5, like 4 hours maybe, outside of the immigration court, and it was really intense, and I did not expect. I don't think I understood how intense. So when I was there, ICE came and went, and they didn't get anyone. They had gotten some, oh God, it's just, they had kidnapped 2 people that morning, and you know, us being there presumably was helpful because they did arrive and leave, but I don't think I fully understood the intensity until doing that. And that was heartbreaking. I mean, I'm glad I speak Spanish. I was able to like talk to people as they were leaving immigration court. There was a little kid. I like stood with him. I'm like, hey, like, is your ride coming? You know, like I was like kind of helpful a little bit that one time. And like,
that's so important. That is so important. I mean, your ability to communicate, just first and foremost.
Oh, for sure. Being able to speak Spanish in those settings is so fucking helpful. Like, I think every single person in the US needs to learn Spanish. Anyone who doesn't know Spanish, especially if you're white, you gotta learn Spanish. Like that's
I have a lot of like
I don't think you have to learn. I don't think people who are coming from the background, like I'm talking about specifically white people, because it is the literal bare fucking minimum least we could do. Anyway, thank you for bringing up that topic. It is an absolute human rights violation atrocity. I wrote about the detention facilities in my first book, which I published in 2018. With cited sources, and it was like, and then also, and I'm not trying to like list things I'm doing about it, I'm just saying like, I guess I'm trying to say like, this is so fucking serious, and like I hear you, and like this is an ongoing fight, and like I'm definitely not doing enough, like at all, and just not, because there's no amount that's enough when you're someone who's able to stand up against what's going on when it's so horrific. Like when we look at like what 1,200 or 1,400 people missing from alligator Auschwitz, to have people missing, disappearing, like that's human trafficking, kidnapping. And I hesitate to even, this is one of those topics where it's like, I don't also want to traumatize people watching. I also don't want, I want to be respectful of the fact that like, if you're someone who actually had, like you, Maya, or anybody in any demographic related to this demographic of like, if you're actually going through this, I actually don't think you have to like take care of yourself. You know, like I don't want to also push people to like hear this. If you are someone who's white, you have to hear this. You have to work on this. You have to figure this out. That is our job. Not just our job, but the, again, bare minimum responsibility.
I love what you said, Abby. I 100% am with you. It's tricky. I struggle with the concept of like doing enough, because I don't think it's, you know, it's solely with you or with any individual. So it's like, it's not, you know, you are one human with a precious brain and heart, and like you can only do what you can. And that's like, sometimes it's like you need more people. Like, it's not that you don't, it's more that like you need those other people with you, and then you can carry the burden together. Because the burden on your own, honestly, I don't think I could do that, you know?
But I think, you
also have to, realize that like everybody has a role. Do you know what I mean? Everybody can show up in their way. We don't all have to show up in the same way.
Yeah.
It just means that way, like, the most important thing, be educated, know your rights, if you can, learn Spanish, show up to these, meetings and like whatever it is, and show up to these detention centers as somebody who like, like is white presenting and like has that privilege and like has a voice. It's really, at the end of the day, for me, it's like, I know that like it's going to take all of us, you know what I mean? And it's I honestly, like, it's so mind-bogglingly horrible, and like it's just like, well, it's ramping up, but undocumented people have been persecuted and detained and deported. It's like part of America, you know what I mean? It's part of this whole thing. And finally people are waking up to like what is going on. And I do believe there needs to be more outrage, for sure. But like I said, we're stuck in a comfortability loop, and it ties back to what we talked about in the beginning of this conversation. Weaponized convenience, the fact that our brains are depleted and like we're distracted most of the time, and we don't have the energy or the capacity, because honestly, it's exhausting to be on your phone all day or to be on your computer all day working. It does,
because they're taking our energy.
It is. So we don't have the energy that we would need to go and meet up and organize and like, figure out like what my role is. Cause like I, like the way that you feel, I don't feel that I'm doing enough. Like, and I understand that, like, what does that mean for me? You know what I mean? What does that mean for me and like my lineage and who I am and my ancestors? But this is like directly relating to people I love and care about, and like communities that like I come from. So it's something that I'm grappling with, even now. And like, I'm trying to be in the moment and like understand that like, that it's like, I can't just be alone in it. And I need to be talking to you about this. I need to be talking to my mom about this. And let me just say, I'm not talking to enough people about it. So this is like a reminder to me that like these discussions are the first place, are the breeding ground for these new ideas to be born, for these ideas on what we could do together to keep people safe. And I think, to tie it all in, everything we talked about is like, at least from like what I want to share, is like, hold on to your hearts. You know what I mean? This is going to be a bumpy ride. And I wish I could remember like what Indigenous people this wisdom comes from. I think it might be the Hopi, that they see humanity as a fish going upstream, and we have to fight to go upstream. Like salmon, salmon to fight going upstream, and we can't stop. There's no point where we can stop. The river is raging, and it'll push us if we don't keep going forward, if we don't have the strength. And that also means that we can't go back for those who fall behind. That you have to kind of grab on to the people who are, you know what I mean? That was in like this parable, is that like, you can't lose sight that we are fighting in this river, and we have to keep going forward, and you have to find your allies. But you know what I mean? Like if a few salmon get swept downstream, you can't go downstream to get them.
I gotta say, Maya, that's how it has been. That's how people survived this. And that's how, like, if you think about, like, whether it's survival or even assimilation, or the ways and tactics that people have used to literally just pass on the lineage throughout history. I mean, what a tragedy, but also what a story of triumph. What a story of community. What a story of never giving up. Just don't give up. It's the most important thing any of us can do. is really stay here.
And we got it. Together we got it. And like, I love you so much. And your like, unwavering optimism, is something to me that's miraculous and something that should be, regarded and respected, because it's very hard. And I understand the people who are feeling lost, who are feeling, like there's no hope. And like, I can intimately like know that in my heart what that feels like. But it is our duty to dream. And like, this, I know this, so many people know this, that what I mean? Like, why say the worst possible outcome is going to happen if like at the end of the day we don't know what's going to happen? I'm going to say the best possible thing is going to happen.
Thank you. That part, because and there's so many people are caught up right now in this premise of we got to assume the worst. We cannot assume the worst. It is irresponsible. It is not how people survive. It's hard not to think about the residential schools that Native people went through in Canada and in the United States, North Native American people went through, when I think about what ICE is doing. And it's like, without bringing that up with what we're talking about, but I'm just saying, like, you gotta hold on. You can't give up. Don't you dare give up. You know what I mean? Like, we literally owe it to ourselves, to our future descendants, and to our ancestors, especially anyone who has any lineages in the Americas. I'm going to say any. I don't really care how distant. I personally don't really care how distant. I think if you have any lineages of people that are from the Americas, don't give up. If you have any lineages of people that were brought to the Americas against their will, so foundational Black American people, don't give up. Like, optimism is an antidote. Optimism is a remedy. I have lineages, without going into all the stories of my family history, some of my lineages were Quakers that were abolitionists back in the day when that was not okay to be. Optimism and trusting that there is a better way forward. Knowing in your heart of heart, against all odds, that there's a better way forward is something that we owe it to ourselves and to this land and to all of our people to do.
We really do. I love you, Abby. This has been so wonderful. I saw it, like, because remember,
I love you.
Like, we started 111, and then I was like, oh, it's 222.
I
boom, boom.
Right on the clock, but it's okay.
Is there anything you want to say in closing? Because I really value my time here with you. But I do have to take care of some things.
Amazing. So responsible. I adore you so much, Maya. I'm so thankful for who you are, exactly as you as a person. I'm so happy about the educational path you're taking right now. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for everything you said and shared. There's thousands more things we could say and share, but I think what we said is what we were called to say, and I know that this is what it's meant to be, and I just feel totally thankful and honored to be here together in this digital space, and hopefully bring this optimism and intricacy into the world for anyone who needs to watch this or hear this. So thank you, Maya.
Thank you, Abby, for inviting me, and like you said, this digital space. And yeah, like, the conversation will continue, and in person we'll do more pods and on Google Meet or whatever, and maybe next time I'll be on the farm and I'll get to show you like around. Yeah, you can come to the farm. We'll just do a whole filming there.
Tomatoes.
Abby, I love you. And then you'll press stop record. And then...
let me do that now. Okay. Let me see how to do this. Let me click this button.
Bye, Abby's followers and friends.
Bye.
We'll keep talking. Me and you.
Ready? Is captions in the recording? I don't know. Stop recording.
Just